Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yamin of Revolution. We got revolution is a way of life. Revolution is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Revolution is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I got some revolutionary. Is it lunch or breakfast? What time y'all waking up? Let's get right to the content. Salute.
Fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. By now, I'm sure you probably heard about the case of the young man who died under mysterious circumstances in what's been called a drowning. Well, it turns out that there's actually been an arrest in this case.
19-year-old Lucas Roper is accused of tampering with evidence in connection to the drowning death of 18-year-old Daniel Irving in Lake Ray Hubbard back in April. Irving's body was discovered on April 17th, 4 days after he is believed to have drowned. Irving had reportedly gone to the lake with Roper and a juvenile suspect to swim and go fishing. Days after his body was recovered, Irving's family held this news conference demanding answers.
What do we want? Justice for Daniel Irving. Amen. When do we want it? Now.
Irving's family said then that they wanted a full and transparent investigation. On July 9th, Roper was arrested by Dallas police on one count of tampering with physical evidence. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Roper was interviewed by detectives after Irving's body was found. Roper told police after the three of them had jumped into the lake from the railroad track bridge, Irving drowned and Roper panicked. Instead of calling 911, the affidavit states Roper told investigators he deleted all communication with Daniel Irving from his cell phone, adding that Roper confirmed he was aware that there would be an investigation into Daniel Irving's death, and he did not want to get into trouble, and states Roper threw Daniel Irving's clothes in the tree line as they fled the location. The juvenile suspect also told investigators he admitted he threw Daniel Irving's cell phone from the vehicle after suspect Roper told him to.
We, the family, are deeply inclined these individuals intended on no one looking for Daniel.
Roper was booked into the Dallas County Jail. I can tell you that his bond has been set at $10,000. Now, we don't know the status of the juvenile suspect. Because he is a minor, Dallas police are not releasing any additional information.
Yes, you have this case out of Dallas with almost exactly the same circumstances that happened to Nolan Wells. This happened to another black teenager, Daniel Irvin, just 3 months ago in Texas. The black teen is out ostensibly to go swimming with his white friends, and that's the last time that anybody ever heard from him alive. The family of Daniel Irvin had to move heaven and earth just to get the white authorities merely to start an investigation. And when they do, they immediately find that the black victim's friends had taken his cell phone and his clothes, and that they deleted all of their digital communications with him before they were arrested. This Roper individual admitted to the police that he had tried to cover his digital tracks. Now, under law, they would call that knowledge of guilt. And yet the so-called authorities are still not pursuing a murder charge against him or even any sort of homicide charge. Instead, it's just tampering with physical evidence. So this guy goes to hang out with a friend. The friend drowns, but he doesn't even think to call for help. He doesn't think to even let the friend's family know what happened to him. Instead, his first and only impulse is, let's get rid of his clothes and his cell phone. And then we're going to go ahead and erase any communication that we had with him. That's not the behavior of a confused friend. That's the behavior of a cowardly killer. And speaking of cowards, the prosecutors are trying to bury this case. They don't want to bring charges at all. They're trying to lay the groundwork to simply say, well, there just wasn't enough to bring a case, you see. That's what they're trying to do. What they're doing at the moment, though, is waiting. They're waiting to see if anyone's going to come forward with evidence that's going to contradict them. Evidence that will make it harder for them to falsely claim, well, there's just not enough proof, you see. As far as they're concerned, unless somebody comes forward with damning evidence, then we got a clear runway to let this guy get away with murder. This is what's been going on in just the last few months alone. So no, Nolan Wells is not some isolated incident, and the response by the white authorities is not a coincidence either. This is the police working to cover up these murders and to help the perpetrators get away with it. Because had the racial roles been reversed, Daniel Irvin would have been arrested immediately, and the charges against him wouldn't be just tampering with evidence. It would be murder. And of course, the entire reason that I'm bringing this up is because this case in Texas dovetails perfectly with the case of Nolan Wells. You see that his white friends claimed that he voluntarily stayed behind on the island, but all they got for that is their word. And if that is true, then why did his white friends have both his cell phone and his keys? Nolan Wells' mother said that she had used an app to track his cell phone, and after a friend went to where it was on land to pick it up, they noticed that some of his messages appeared to have been deleted. So, you look at these two cases here. Two teens turn up dead under mysterious circumstances, an apparent drowning, a number of similarities in the case, but the police are doing nothing but pushing every lie, every excuse they can not to make an arrest. Having someone's cell phone and their keys and messages that appear to have been deleted, well, apparently that's not tampering with evidence at all, now is it? And then there's Nolan's friends who had his cell phone and his keys, and they're claiming that a widely circulated video where a voice can be heard, they're going, well, that's not Nolan's voice, why, that's one of ours. And are people skeptical about that? Of course they are. They'd be fools not to be skeptical of this group. These guys are literally recycling the George Zimmerman talking points. Oh, well, if you can't see the guy, then that means you got to take our word for it, right? All of this went down on July 4th, which is a fitting date for this kind of skullduggery to take place. And that's the reason why, among other reasons, that there's no arrest, the authorities are throwing up a smokescreen to justify their own inaction. They've done everything short of saying, we think it was a suicide. That's about the only lie that they haven't pushed out here. They're already saying that it was most likely a rip tide or something. He probably tried to swim back to shore, don't you think? So in other words, they're sending up all kinds of BS trial balloons, all kinds of lies and stories and fairy tales. They're trying to set the stage for when they blame the victim, because that's where they're determined to go. This is not an investigation, it's a whitewashing. Oh, they know exactly what it is that happened here, and they know exactly why it is that everybody's suspicious. As far as they're concerned, that's the point. This is about sending a racial message. Oh yeah, we know what the truth happens to be here, but we also know that we're the ones in charge. So this is our opportunity to show you that there's not going to be any justice if the white supremacists have anything to say about it. We're going to be blaming the victim, even though everyone knows it's a pack of lies. This is their way of trying to show their little old power. It's like all these times when you got some black person who turns up having been lynched, and the authorities immediately say, well, he committed suicide, isn't it obvious? That's the lie that they tell. That's the one that they always use. It's their go-to excuse. But in this case, they can't say that. So instead, the lie is, well, maybe he was trying to swim back to the mainland. They're not even conducting an investigation. They're just throwing up excuses, lies up front. And don't underestimate the desire by these racists to have a do-over of the attack on Carmelo Anthony. High school-aged males, football players, where you got one black person and a whole bunch of non-black people around him. And of course, you just need to take their word for it. Just go ahead and take their word for it. After all, they wouldn't lie. Certainly if they harmed him, they wouldn't lie, right? As they see it, this incident with Nolan Wells, this one went the right way. So now the game is to preserve what they see as their little old victory and make sure that nobody winds up being prosecuted. Because if they allow the public to actually pressure them into actually doing their jobs and actually enforcing the law, well, they run the risk of this becoming another L. And speaking of people who take L's, we've seen a number of individuals who are only too eager to jump in front of the camera. Yeah, I'm talking about people like Mushmouth Crump. Yeah, this guy's never late. Whenever there's some black person who's been harmed, this guy shows up because the white media feels that he's safe to put in front of the cameras. He's the kind of lame brain that they like to give airtime to so they can hold up, see, this is the best legal mind that black America has. Chuckle, chuckle. And of course, speaking of chuckling, you got the joke himself, Al Sharpton. Nice to see that he could take some time away from licking Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski's boots to go ahead and get in front of the cameras on this one too. Al Sharpton at this point is desperately trying to regain some of his long since squandered credibility. And in the case of the professional ambulance chaser Crump, he never had any to begin with. I truly can't understand why these families just keep on letting this guy Crump use them for photo ops. I guess somebody must have convinced them that he can bring attention to their case or something like that, even though they don't need him for that. More likely, I think that they believe that if they see someone on white media TV networks, then what that means is, well, this guy must be important or he must be a good lawyer. Otherwise, he wouldn't be on TV. When the reality is, all it means is that this is a trusted cog in the machine of white supremacy. The family of Ahmaud Arbery managed to get justice in spite of Mushmouth Crump's involvement, certainly not because of him. Times like this, you see that the untalented 10th, the so-called smartest Negroes in the room, the boule bootlicks who love to tell everybody that they're the leaders of Black America and that they're so smarter than everybody else. Interesting how times like this, these morons go missing. Should public pressure be enough to bring charges, and should the truth come out that Nolan Wells' death was indeed the result of his friends' actions, I have to wonder if our Negro bootlick lawyers, the ones who were so eager to demonize Carmelo Anthony and to whitewash his railroading, I wonder if they're going to be running their mouths on this one. See, with Carmelo Anthony, they were so authoritative about what the particulars of the law were, even though they didn't have a single letter of the law to stand on. That was the entire point. It wasn't about law. They knew it. Oh, they were so against it because the law is very clear on this. Interesting, though, how none of these morons ever brings up the law with that level of certitude when the deceased is Black, no matter how damning the evidence is or how obvious the crime. Suddenly, their ability to confidently say and predict, well, the law is just against them, all of a sudden their ability to see the future is gone. Yeah, when the accused is not Black, but the victim is, all of a sudden they can't say what the law would do. Well, we can't even actually be that hard about it. I mean, we can't put our foot down and say this is what it is. Because these scumbag shysters know that under white supremacy, it's never about the law. It's only about the skin color of the accused. If you're Black, then you're guilty, period. But on the other hand, if you're white, then you got the complexion for the protection. This fact is so well known and so well established that the bootlicks know it and they don't dare challenge it. When have you ever seen them on a tear talking about how clear the law is when a Black person is killed, but then some white supremacist walks afterwards, or vice versa? When have they ever been so certain about the law when a Black person is the one accused of something, particularly if they're accused of harming a non-Black person? When have these clowns said that, well, the law's clearly on his side, you see? No, these lame-brained lawyers, they know the rules of racism. They know the outcomes that white power wants, and these morons know that the outcomes of these legal cases have nothing to do with the law and everything to do with race. So they'll carry water for the injustice system because they're hoping that some white TV producer or some person in the white media will notice their shameless butt kissing. And in cases like this one, they'll show that they have no intelligence and no legal skill because none of them ever talks about what legal options and legal maneuvers that the family of these Black children can make. So in what is credibly believed to be the murder of Nolan Wells, this case is the intersection of a number of evils, though none of them is new. It's also a reminder to Black parents that you need to be extra vigilant about who your children's friends are. The same way you got to have the talk with your kids about the police, you also better get realistic with them about having friends from the dominant society, because there's a hell of a lot of these irregular forces of white supremacy running around. Because if you're not careful, your child just might, quote unquote, befriend someone like a Kyle Rittenhouse or a Dylan Roof. Let's be blunt here. So long as the power dynamic is based on what it is, which is anti-Black oppression, then it's utterly impossible and foolish for your children to think that they have friends from the dominant society. The relationships that they have are not defined at the personal level. They are defined by the conditions of the society that they live in. And as Neely Fuller pointed out, when it comes to the children of the dominant society, they already know the rules of racism by the time that they hit age 13. They have to know it. They have to know exactly what their power and position in the world is based on. They know it, and they have no confusion about it. But in too many cases, Black children, particularly the ones whose parents allowed them to be raised by television, the white media's television, and their parents who allow the kids to just run around just meeting whomever because after all, everybody's nice if we are, right? Those children can find themselves in very, very dangerous, if not deadly situations. Until white supremacy has been crushed to dirt and Black empowerment stands tall. The only actual relationship that you can have is oppressor and oppressed. That's the reality. And you play with your life if you forget that. White supremacy is global. How many times have you seen some Black person turn up dead and you got someone from the dominant society suspected of doing it, but they still walk around free as a bird, unworried, as if they're totally confident that the law isn't going to touch them? These are the facts. Facts that Black children need to know, that they need to have taught to them and drilled into their heads until they get it. And we do ourselves no favors by ignoring it, though we do our children a lot of harm by ignoring this reality. Black children need to be aware of this, because if they're not, they just might wind up hanging out with their friends for some sort of occasion, like some sort of holiday, thinking to themselves that these are their buddies. And then, too late, they'll realize white supremacy doesn't take a holiday. Good day and be
Nolan Wells' friends caught lying after new admission timeline exposed. And guess what? I didn't trust they ass in the first place. I really, in my heart, believe that they was handpicking them to come and pacify us, to try to get us to shut up, talking about, look, all of Nolan's friends loved him and they would never do anything. Could you please just let us grieve over Nolan? Where's the RIP shirts? Where's the long live Nolan comment? If everybody loved him so much, it wouldn't let nothing happen to Nolan. But let's react to this video. Remember, make sure y'all share, make sure y'all hype this video up, and let's get into this reaction.
The case of Nolan Wells continues to be filled with unanswered questions, but as more information comes out, it appears the truth is coming to light. This time, we are seeing conflicting stories and timelines from the accused. On Sunday, another friend of Wells, Trayson Shepard, would for the first time speak about the day in which he would reveal that he was actually the person in the viral video at Horn Island heard yelling. In a new interview with Rolling Stone, Shepard would go on to admit that he wanted to fight someone after they would comment on he and his girlfriend arguing. I told him he needed to mind his own business. From the Rolling Stone article, it reads, Shepard says the exchange became heated and that he and the other man ended up getting into a physical altercation. Shepard's uncle, who had raised him like a father, told Shepard to get out of the water and onto his boat so they could head back home. Shepard complied, but once he got on the boat, he changed his mind and decided he wanted to go back. Shepard's friends had by that point begun defending him on shore. Around this time, another adult on a nearby boat started filming the video. My exact wording is, get me off this effing boat. I wanted to fight, and I feel like I hadn't had my fair share. Now, what makes Shepard's new admission interesting is that it looks to have exposed lies and inconsistencies with Nolan's friends, whom he traveled to the island with, saying that they last saw Nolan at 3 p.m. that day. If you can recall, the video that captured the aftermath of Shepard's confrontation would end up being captured at 4:01 p.m. And in this interview with Rolling Stone, Shepard would confirm that Nolan was actually in the water out of view on camera at that time, as well as noted in this new interview that he was around Nolan and friends at 3:30 p.m., meaning Nolan was still very much near everyone else, despite his friends reporting to police that they last saw him at 3 p.m.
Okay, to keep y'all up to speed, Shepard got into an argument with somebody who tried to check him for arguing with his own girl. Typical people, that's how they do. They don't know how to mind their damn business. And this was around 4 p.m., which contradicts Nolan's white friends from saying the last time they seen Nolan was around 3 p.m. So they was lying, y'all.
Now, from this Rolling Stone interview, Shepard's admission goes on to reveal, Shepard says the man in the video, who people think is Wells, is too short to be his 6'2" friend. He says Wells is not shown in the video at all. that he was just out of frame, hanging out in the water. Now, according to official reports and a statement made by one of the young man's stepmother, who happens to also be a judge, Ashley Cole, would state her stepson and friends would leave the island around 4:30 p.m. due to issues with their boat. In her statement, she would say, Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last at around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taken on water and they had an issue with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. Now, what's interesting about this statement is that a leaked direct message from Warren's biological mother several days before to a Facebook user looks to contradict his statement by a stepmother. To note, Warren's biological mom's message would take place before Nolan's body was found, in which it was only thought he was only a missing person, making it appear for some that this new changing of times and separating them to last seeing Nolan at 3 p.m. is part of a cover-up. Warren's actual mother would go on to write, I am Warren's mother, the woman you have been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family. I'm here to tell you that we all love Nolan and we are deeply distraught. Your information is not correct, and I ask you to please stop posting about Warren and our family. My son did not ride out with him, nor did he come back with them. The boat that Nolan was supposed to get on, Wyatt's boat. He repeatedly asked Nolan to get on the boat at 5 when it was time to leave, but Nolan wanted to stay with the girl, and their boat was parked next to his. He was insistent about staying with this girl. Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and the people heard him. My son loves him and would never in 1,000,000 years leave him. Warren does not even have a boat. Nolan has been to our house several times, and he is the sweetest friend. We all adore him. Again, when Wyatt asked for him to get on, he said he wanted to stay, and Wyatt's boat started to fill with water. His boat ended up breaking down and was towed in. Now, as shown, Nolan is documented due to his friend's new interview with Rolling Stone to being near everyone at 3:30 p.m. and again at 4 p.m. when the altercation happened, and not 3 p.m. as stated by Warren's stepmom, as well as a leaked message from Warren's actual mom that now places Nolan speaking with his friends about leaving around 4:35 p.m. Again, not 3 p.m. It is under these conditions that speculation has grown and leaves the question of what happened. Now, according to a Facebook post that was made at the top of Nolan's disappearance, the young lady whom he was talking to's sister allegedly looked to have filled in more of what took place. According to her post, as Nolan's friends pressured him with ending his conversation with her sister so he can ride back with them. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and her sister-in-law went and got her. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Me and my family have talked, called, and are sending up prayers to bring Nolan home. We have given all the answers we can give to his mom and authorities. Now,
do y'all see every little lie they come out with? It don't line up from what they previously said. And this is what's going to bite them in the butt, because they were so in a rush to tell everybody they have nothing to do with it. Now, when they want to come out and try to protect their name, it contradicts what they previously said. But my question is, why y'all lawyer up so fast? Why are you cleaning the boat? Why did you hold Nolan's phone for so long? Whatever you try to use ChatGPT to get you out of this little thing that you in, it's not going to work, because everything is pointing to you having something to do with it.
Now, with this series of information and reports, some are now feeling that Nolan may have been swimming to get on the boat and his friends would leave him in the water, thus being an explanation for some on why his friends are now separating when they last saw Nolan at 3 p.m. and when they left, instead of it all happening at once, as first indicated by Warren's mother, to hide that they knew Nolan was in the water to get back on the boat. Now, if this isn't the case and only speculation, then according to these statements and new interview, Nolan's friends would not see him for close to 2 hours, despite him still being documented with being on Horn Island shore with Shepard and others at 3:30 p.m. and later at 4 p.m., right after Shepard's confrontation. A part of that theory, one of the biggest questions that come up is, why was the Coast Guard contacted at 11 p.m. by his friends? leaving some to speculate that they knew Nolan was in the water when they last saw him, because for some following the case, it makes no sense that his friends would conclude Nolan was in serious danger and is in possible need of search and rescue, when according to them was last seen safely talking to a girl. To note, Nolan's father would state that he remembers seeing people camping on the island overnight when he searched for Nolan the following morning, meaning there was never a moment when the island was empty, meaning Nolan could have used another person's phone on the island if he was stuck. So what did his friends suspect about Nolan that night that would make them think of calling the Coast Guard? According to outlet WLOX, the first time the Coast Guard would be contacted about Nolan was on July 4th at 11 p.m., but it was later determined that it did not need their assistance. The Coast Guard told WLOX on Thursday, July 9th, that a friend of Wells contacted agency around 11 p.m., the night of July 4th. The Coast Guard would not disclose any information about the call to WLOX, but said it did not require Coast Guard assistance. A part of this, some are asking, what did Nolan's friends know, since Nolan had no way of contacting them after allegedly leaving his phone on the boat? Now, following this first report from the Coast Guard, they would eventually get involved the next day at 12:26 p.m. after being contacted by local police. The statement confirming this taking place would for some align with the theory that his friends knew he was in the water. As it reads, they were requested to search in the vicinity of Horn Island and not on Horn Island. At 12:26 p.m., Coast Guard Sector Mobile received a request for assistance from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office in search of a missing person in the vicinity of Horn Island. Sector watchstanders issued an urgent marine information broadcast and diverted a Coast Guard helicopter to search the area. Currently, as of this report, questions remain, like how did they know Nolan never made it back to land if they last saw him just talking to a girl? And again, why would the Coast Guard be a thought to call? As of now, many continue to speculate, especially after a new photo would go viral over the weekend and later debunked by Shepard of Nolan allegedly attending a pool party that night. According to another interview with ABC News, Shepard would go on to say that the pool party happened on June 27th, and this would also be verified by metadata according to Rolling Stone. Now, the same story would spread on Facebook and other parts of social media when the user would allege that Nolan was beat up at this party and later dropped back off on the island. The person would even claim to have spoken to Nolan's mother, in which Nolan's mother now looks to have expressed that the person spreading this story is not a close friend of his, as they claim, nor did they ever speak to her. As of this report, people following the story continue to wait to the now 2 autopsies conducted to better confirm what may have happened to Nolan that day. Let's talk about it more in the comments below. Now that we're seeing inconsistencies on the timeline given by the accused, does it raise more?
I'm going to tell y'all like this. I don't trust none of them little boys out there. I need to hear from them little white boys that was around him. And as far as everybody trying to take away our little leads, listen, I'm going to tell you like this. Any new information come out, we reacting to it. We need every lead we could get. So yes, we're going to keep everything alleged. But if it's any pictures, if it's any videos, we're going to examine it and we're going to look at it for ourselves, just like everybody else on the internet. But do y'all see how people slowly starting to come out because all those pictures is starting to irritate them? And I'm honestly thinking at this point, these people are trying to use ChatGPT to line up times to make it benefit them and their narrative. But trust me, there's going to be more than Shepard to come out. There are people that are in their house ready and contemplating whether they should come out with the truth, with the video, with the message every day that passes. Hell, I believe Nolan's spirit is haunting them in their dreams. But make sure y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Make sure y'all hype this video. Make sure
Amen. Here in Preston, Georgia, where 2 dead bodies have been found, deceased bodies. And we need to pray for the families. I'm not going to release the names. Or let us.
Story: 2 families are grieving after their teenage sons were killed and their bodies left in the woods in Preston, Georgia. One of the mothers is pleading for anyone with any information to contact law enforcement as investigators search for the killer. On Wednesday, the Webster County Sheriff's Office was called to conduct a welfare check for a missing person. Deputies went to the area of Twin Towers Road, where they found 19-year-old Zakevian James and 17-year-old Jaquavius Jones, both dead. James's mother told News Leader 9 that whoever killed her son took away the father of his unborn child.
He was about to be a dad, so he wanted to be a family man, and he wanted to be a great father. He talked about that all the time. His baby is supposed to be here in December, so he's not going to get to see that. That's what he talked about all the time, being a father.
She says she doesn't know how or why her son was killed and is urging anyone with any information to contact the Webster County Sheriff's Office or the GBI.
Psalms 10:8 says, he lies in wait near the villages. From ambush, he murders the innocent. His eyes watch in secret for his victims. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. And that scripture describes whoever is doing this to a lot of our young Black men. This case happened on July 3rd. At least that's when the bodies were found of 19-year-old Zakevian James. And the one they didn't talk about or show is Jaquavius Jones, 17. They are from around the Webster, Georgia area. And this article is very vague. This is one of the only articles I could find about the situation outside of Facebook posts talking about it. And so that's very strange to me, as well as where is the family of Jaquavius Jones, the 17-year-old. 2 Black men, they're saying, found in the woods or either on the side of the highway. And the vagueness of the article adds more suspicion in my point of view, because they said they were called for a welfare check on a missing persons. And then they went directly to the area of Twin Towers Road when they found both people. Now, who reported them missing? And what does the mother have to say? The mother that you just heard from, what does she have to say? Like, was he missing for 2 days? When was the last time anyone seen him? Who did he talk to? Where did he say he was going to go? Because she said he was happy that he was going to have a child. So this is not someone who would just wander off to the woods. Now, also, they're not talking about these 2 men's relationship between each other. Like, were they cousins? Were they friends? Were they on the same basketball team? None of that information. And so that leads me to believe, once again, if they called for a welfare check on a missing person and they just went, the police of that area just went to that area, then that lets me know they already knew where those young men were. Like, did somebody give them a tip? They're in the woods. Or, like a lot of people have suggested, in these mysterious killings and disappearances of young Black men, law enforcement may be involved. I mean, that is the only way I can see, because once again, it's been a week. Where are the autopsy reports? Where is, the Crime Stoppers nationwide hit? If 2 white boys would have been found in the wood there, they'd have had that on CNN and congressional hearings and things like that. So this leads me to believe that in these small towns, just like that town, I think in Lunenburg, Virginia, where police were killing Black men left and right. and they weren't investigating. So this may be a case, once again, this happened a week ago. So in the wake of the Nolan Wells situation, in the wake of many other situations that are coming to light, the brother up in Michigan with at the festival, the young man who got found in a canal in Texas the other day, like all of these things are seemingly calculated, are seemingly, in my opinion, related. There's some sort of dog whistle for attack on young black men, not just by police in public areas, arresting them and shooting them and beating them up, but also in secret, as the scripture said, lying in wait outside of the villages. And so we're going to keep an eye on this story. Hopefully, I will get some information about, or hopefully they will give some information, because the vagicity, and I know that's not a word, but the vagicity of that article is very suspicious and alarming itself. So rest in peace to the two young brothers, Kevion James and Jaquavius Jones, two young black lives lost in the woods. We all know, and then they even, okay, how were they found? Were they hanging? They're very vague, so I wouldn't put it past the fact that they were found hanging, because they're not talking about it. But anytime that these hangings and things took place back then, a lot of time the law enforcement were involved, but they just dressed up in the white robes and the white hats to hide their identity. Now they just do it, come to the scene and say, oh, well, yeah, we got 2 bodies found out. We don't know. Just pack it up here, because possibly they are involved. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video, or if you do have any information, feel free to call the number as well. But as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. And as the scripture says, all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret
button now, along with the bell icon, so you can be notified whenever a new video is posted. And if you're already subscribed, check and make sure the YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you. And of course, be sure to give the video a like, as well as share it on your social media. The white supremacists and the racist judges in South Carolina hate that. And now, a special Sunday crime report.
Today is June 19th, 2015, Charleston County Bond Court. I'm Judge James Gosnell, the Chief Magistrate of Charleston County. This is the case of State versus Dylan Roof. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into the hearing, I'd like to make a statement, please. Charleston is a very strong community. We have big hearts. We're a very loving community. And we're going to reach out to everyone, all victims, and we will touch them. We have victims, 9 of them. But we also have victims on the other side. There are victims on this young man's side of the family. Nobody would have ever thrown them into the whirlwind of events that they are being thrown into. We must find it in our heart at some point in time, not only to help those that are victims, but to also help his family as well. Our law enforcement are the finest in this state, and they will do their job honorably. I trust they will.
A few moments later. A suspended Charleston County magistrate judge was back inside of a federal courtroom this afternoon, only hours after he was accused of additional, even more graphic charges. James B. Gosnell Jr. has been in jail since last week after the U.S. Department of Justice charged him with possession of child sexual abuse material.
The motion details Gosnell claimed to have traveled to Mexico to have sex with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and he repeatedly admitted to abusing children in his neighborhood, according to messages.
To the parents of the community, our investigation has revealed that Gosnell claims to have abused very young children. If you have left your child alone with Gosnell, even let him hold your child, please email the tip line.
Well, News 4 has obtained hours of audio from jail phone calls made by a former Charleston County magistrate judge. News 4's Webb Wright shows us a picture of a man who continues to proclaim his innocence. Webb?
The calls show that Gosnell remains defiant, claiming that he was a victim of hacking.
It was what it was. It was a hack.
James Gosnell continues to insist his computer was hacked in one of several phone calls made from prison.
They got a hold of my credit card accounts. They hacked my computer. That's how this whole thing started. Can't talk much more about the case, but that's where it all started.
Soon after.
Thursday, Gosnell pleaded guilty to possession of child pornography involving a prepubescent minor and distribution of child pornography. Both charges carrying a maximum sentence of 20 years. Prosecutors say they're pushing for a full 40-year sentence in total.
We hope this plea will bring finality and closure to the community that he betrayed.
As part of the plea agreement, federal prosecutors will seek dismissal of the remaining charges at sentencing if Gosnell complies with the terms of the agreement.
Gosnell took the position that I'm not going to put my family through any more heartache or hardship. I'm just going to go ahead and plead.
This comes just over a month after co-defendant John Thorpe also pled guilty and agreed to work with prosecutors as well as testify against Gosnell. Working for you live in downtown Charleston, Emily Deanne, ABC News 4.
Yeah, for those of you who forgot about this creep, you can be disgusted, but nobody's surprised. James Gosnell was a career racist who took every chance he could to spew his anti-black vitriol from the bench, and the good old boys in South Carolina made sure to protect him. He tried to hang in there as long as he could on this one. He was just so sure that at some point his racial immunity from law had to kick in and they had to get on code to bury it for him. But alas, this time the public pressure was too much, the crime's too grave, it just wasn't meant to be. Now, at Dylan Roof's bail hearing, he wanted to put on a show for his fellow white supremacists. He wanted to show everybody that he was going to be bold and stand up in front of the world and show them niggers who got killed, their lives didn't mean anything. I'm siding with the white supremacists. See how much contempt I've got for these black people. That's what he did that mess for. But just like Dylan Roof and just like the Confederacy, this animal James Gosnell is also a loser whose demonic racism has cost him everything.
We have big hearts. We're a very loving community. And we are going to reach out to everyone, all victims, and we will touch them.
Yeah, we could pretty much guess that this guy meant it literally when he said, there's lots of victims and we will touch every one of them. Oh yeah, I'm sure he loved touching those victims. In fact, that was his favorite thing to do. The federal filing against him last year stated that Gosnell had numerous conversations on the Telegram app that reveal numerous instances in which he raped and abused children. In one conversation, Gosnell confessed to abusing a 5-month-old in public in his neighborhood and later sent a selfie of himself and a 2-year-old child with the message, "My new buddy." Court documents allege that Gosnell claimed to have sexually assaulted the girl 2 weeks earlier. So you had a 5-month-old baby and a 2-year-old baby that this scumbag was abusing. But predictably, being an anti-black racist, he couldn't stop there. Conversations revealed that Gosnell described traveling to Puerto Vallarta to have sex with a 2-year-old baby and a 5-year-old toddler, and that other international travel was made for the purpose of engaging in sex with children. Investigators also found evidence that Gosnell communicated with another man with a shared interest in pedophilia, describing unimaginably explicit conversations that suggest the judge was romantically involved with this man. and that their romantic interest involved abusing children together. In one of these conversations, prosecutors alleged that the man Gosnell was romantically involved with invited him to visit him in Florida so the two of them could jointly rape and torture the infant son of a family member of the other man. So this animal was raping babies, and he was the ringleader of a pedophile rape gang. He was organizing groups of other reprobates like himself to go from state to state raping babies. This is the typical white supremacist. He's not some wild anomaly. In fact, he's quite normal for them. And no, it doesn't surprise me at all that these cavemen were planning to go to Ron DeSantis' Florida. If you want some kind of satanic degeneracy, Ron DeSantis' Florida is the place to go. If you're a piece of crap like Gosnell, it makes sense you'd want to visit America's toilet. And speaking of visits, these animals were also traveling internationally, and as these creeps always do, targeting children when they go overseas. It seems anytime we talk about these guys traveling abroad, we inevitably find them exploiting and violating children. Even after a natural disaster like the one that took place in Haiti, you had UN peacekeepers from Europe who were going there and raping the locals. It's a compulsion for them. So whether it be in their home or in another state or even in another country, they're determined to do the most evil things to the most helpless people they find. This is an expression of culture that we're seeing. And this John Thorpe character, who apparently is Gosnell's romantic interest, this is who Gosnell was romantically involved with. These white supremacist Neanderthals all look like the sad product of centuries of inbreeding with the deviant behavior to match. There's not enough chlorine in the world to sanitize this gene pool. Now, we knew this racist punk was a walking piece of excrement, and even now his own supporters have to admit it, and they have to hold this L right alongside him. Seems every single time we have some out-and-out anti-black racist, they always have the most perverted behavior imaginable. The two go hand in hand, anti-black racism and utter degeneracy. Because there is no bottom when it comes to white supremacy. There is no low that is too low for them. So he admitted to his pedophile friends that he was raping babies, and yet the so-called authorities in this case decided to drop all that. Apparently they didn't even pursue it. And no, the reason the government didn't bring it up is because the other victims' parents no doubt wanted to keep their children from being exposed to the torrent of abuse and hate that they would have surely gotten from Gosnell's degenerate supporters and his fellow white supremacists. God knows what other kind of anti-black scum that they've got on the courts there. In fact, that's probably the only way you can get on the court, to be a card-carrying, degenerate anti-black racist. This is the same state that produced garbage like Dylan Roof, after all, and it produced utter trash like James Gosnell, who in open court in front of the world praised Dylan Roof for committing a mass murder, just defending the scumbag. And of course, he made it a point to praise the so-called law enforcement in South Carolina. You mean the exact same law enforcement who moseyed on up to Dylan Roof's car as if it was a routine traffic stop, and then who infamously decided to treat him to lunch at Burger King. We don't take this guy straight to the station house for booking. I mean, we got to make sure he has lunch first, after all. Instead of condemning these animals, James Gosnell was deciding to praise them. That's because like with like. You know, R. Kelly's doing serious time for alleged offenses against adults, and none of those accusations were anywhere near as serious as what Gosnell has done. But we all know why that is. It's for the exact same reason this degenerate was on the bench in the first place: the white old boy network. The very authorities who pretend to be outraged about this case are in many instances involved in the exact same behavior. This is not about prosecution to them. This is not about confinement. This is about containment, just like with Jeffrey Epstein. The goal is not to round up all the perpetrators and make sure that they're punished. They only do that if they think they can round up black people. Their mission in this case is to protect themselves as a group. Because with his behavior being what it is, it shouldn't have taken some anonymous tip to finally bring him down. This is just like with Dylan Roof. The authorities know full well that Roof was part of an online white supremacist terror cell. Just like Gosnell, Dylan Roof was also in communication with other white supremacists online. And just like with Gosnell, the authorities decided not to follow up that lead either. Because if you seriously think that Gosnell and Thorpe are the only ones involved in this pedophile ring, then you're a fool. In fact, Gosnell wasn't even the only good old boy from South Carolina to be charged with child porn last year alone. Last summer, a month before Gosnell got hemmed up, a South Carolina state representative, R.J. May, was arrested. In September of last year, he pleaded guilty to 5 counts of distributing child sexual abuse material. In January of this year, he was finally sentenced to 17.5 years in federal prison. This is who the white right tries to call God-fearing Christians. This is who they tell us are so high IQ and who have such high morals, don't you know? And just like James Gosnell, this RJ May creep also used Telegram to exchange his obscene material. And just like Gosnell, RJ May also had buddies who he was coordinating with online to target his victims. And just like Gosnell, he also planned to travel to other countries for, well, God knows what. There's an old saying, team reflects leadership. And these are the kinds of individuals who the racist right chooses to lead them. And you can bet there's more, a lot more where this came from, but white supremacy is all about maintaining appearances, and that means they bury stories like these. This is why we always see them constantly recycling the same old lies about Michael Jackson and Bill Cosby, and why it was that they couldn't wait to make a cause celeb out of R. Kelly, who last time I checked, there may have been a number of groupies among his victims, but I don't recall anything about him and any 2-year-olds. It's deliberate misdirection and misinformation. Long as we're talking about them, who we're not talking about are the James Gosnells and the RJ Mays of the world, who are far more numerous and who actually committed the kinds of offenses that black men like Michael Jackson are falsely accused of. The racists in the white media know that they're spreading lies, but then again, that's their job, to control the public mind through the endless repetition of lies. They do that by manufacturing a false equivalence in the public mind. In many cases, because we don't hear about these white child molesters, the bigots and racists on the right push the lie that black men are the majority of these offenders. Take a look at the Gosnell case. How many of you knew that he had pleaded guilty before I told you about it? Hell, how many of you even knew that this guy had been arrested for child porn and for child rape, truth be told, before I told you about it? These black cast-offs from cable, you didn't hear them say anything about this because that's not on their radar. Don Lemon is only interested in trying to get some screen time for himself in the white media. Roly-Poly Martin only cares about auditioning for a job with the DNC, and idiots like Tiffany Cross and Joke Reed don't care about anything but themselves. This scumbag is an indictment of the injustice system. They protect animals like this. In America, judges are beyond corrupt, but unfortunately, they're also beyond the law as well because they're the ones who the white powers that be rely on to be the legitimizers of last resort. There's a reason the white right in particular made it a point to front load the federal courts with a bunch of Federalist Society flunkies. Their job is to legislate from the bench and to give white supremacist immunity from law. Individuals who are appointed and not elected. That way they can't be removed. Gosnell himself was an appointee, put on the bench by the governor at that time. Both political parties, however, rely on these crooked judges for their racial immunity from law, as we saw with Brock Turner in California. And you notice the pains that the white media went to not mention Gosnell's courtroom racism? Then again, how many in the white media are just like him? Of course, this white supremacist acts out in court. This kind of evil is disproportionately found among them. But it needs to be the headline everywhere. White supremacy is the ultimate form of degeneracy, the ultimate form of evil. The culture of child rape and all the rest of it, these are merely extensions of the core evil of white supremacy itself. It extends not just to its violent perpetrators, but to its advocates and to those who benefit from it. They've all been touched by evil. And if they're not trying to dismantle it, which none of them are, then they're promoting it. So while it is poetic justice to see the scumbag animal James Gosnell exposed, disgraced, and apparently being teed up for incarceration, to see that his name is shown for what it's always been. This guy is evil through and through, to the point that even his own supporters, they don't dare try to stick up for him because, truth be told, there's nothing to say for a scumbag this low. And as for James Gosnell, oh, I'm sure he felt very clever with himself, at least for a minute there. Oh yeah, all these black people were mass murdered by a white supremacist just like himself. Well, it's time to let everybody know that's exactly what we need to have in America. I stand with the race killer. That's what he wanted everyone to see. Oh, he made a proper spectacle of himself. But the ancestors decided to work overtime on this one. His name has been made pale to the extent that even the fellow white supremacist trash who would love to stick up for him, they can't say anything on his behalf. They don't dare speak up on his behalf. They can't. And as I've long told you, you'll know when you've won the argument against these white supremacists, not because they're going to confess to their sins, but by the sound of their silence, when you give these bastards a permanent case of lockjaw. And as for James Gosnell, the convicted pedophile and suspected child rapist, He was so eager to defend Dylan Roof, so eager to sing a white supremacist mass murderer's praises and to call him a young man. We're going to speak about him dignified in this court. Oh, we're not going to call him a criminal at all. He clearly admired what Dylan Roof did. And why not? They both have a lot in common. Career criminals of the lowest order. And now they've got one more thing in common. They both are going to be behind bars. And that's this evening's special Sunday crime report. Keep your eyes open and stay on alert.
Minute. And we never needed these other groups anyway. I don't care how much they try to twist the story and make it seem like we need them. We don't need no goddamn Gentile up in here. Never have, never will. We don't need them. So y'all, yeah, I'm glad, actually. You know, I know some people, like I said, I stopped going in Asian shops a long time ago, long before the boycott. And trust me, you can live without them. They don't have nothing in those shops that you need. Not a thing. And as far as their food, you can easily learn how to make that stuff on your own. You don't have to buy anything. You can get all the ingredients you need and put it together yourself. You know? Every now and then I even make the fried rice. I know how to do that myself. I don't need to go to their stores to get fried rice or chicken and broccoli. I mean, that's stuff you can make at home. And it'll taste way better anyway. So y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. You know what I do want to say this. You know what gets me now? There were a couple of videos I saw where white people were trying to chime in, talking about it wasn't right what black people are doing. First of all, don't come over and tell us how to spend our money. Spending money is freedom of expression. If we choose not to spend our money with Asians or anyone else for that matter, that's our business. You don't control what's in our wallet, and you really need to mind your business. This boycott is between us and the Asians. I don't know why you white people are trying to chime in. You don't get to tell us what to do with our money, just like we have no interest in telling you what to do with yours. Stay in your lane. Thank you, everybody, for the ones.
I saw this thing online of how the black people are not going to these salons. They are seriously boycotting these Asian people. We are not funding them anymore. It's empty. Look at this. I thought it was a joke. Ain't nobody in there. Wow. Look at this. They are not playing. Talking all of that shit about the niggas, and the niggas ain't going in there to buy you nothing. Wow, I thought it was a joke, but they are not playing with these Asian people. Ain't nobody in there saying they don't need the black dollar. Uh-huh.
And the only reason some of these Asian content creators are upset about this whole black, wealth transfer thing is because they expected to be able to retire off of the back of Black people. Pretty much like racist white people do.
If you live in Tampa, Kim Brothers on Hillsborough is closing. I'm so sad. They close at the end of this month, so end of July. They're doing a sale. So right now it's like 20 to 30% off most items, but I'll say 80% of the stuff in the store. Next week, she's probably going to do like another bigger discount. But they want to get rid of everything before the end of the month. So definitely stop in. But I'm so sad because I've been coming here since I was little. And I'm just so sad to see it go. They are...
The worst thing that Asian fella did was to make a threat against the Black communities. A $1.6 trillion industry, especially in Black communities alone, where most of the Asian stores, nail shops, beauty supply stores are highly dependent upon the Black dollar. So if you take away that, those stores will run out of business within 3 weeks. That's where it starts. And then it's going to go up to where the supply chain is, where they're getting the goods from. That's going to be highly affected. But in order for this to be a good effect on the Black Americans, we must build our own manufacturing shops right here in America. Right here. Bye.
This is a Saturday.
My kids talking about they want some damn Chinese food. Yeah, I said, you can get your sesame seed head ass out my goddamn face. I want some orange chicken. We finna eat some red spaghetti with some brown fish. Fuck out my face. We ain't get no goddamn Chinese food around here. They don't exist no more. They not open no more. They not open for business. Like, no.
The way y'all keep coming with excuses as to why these nail shops and other Asian businesses and restaurants and stuff are empty, y'all really don't believe that when Black people set their minds to it, that they can actually stick to it and make differences. But then again, yes, y'all do. It's why y'all try so hard to convince us, like white supremacists have always done for so many years, that it doesn't matter when we unify, when clearly it does. But to see y'all writing all these excuses, it's a Monday, oh, it's still too early, or this, or maybe just people are standing on their word, Black people, and keeping their money in Black businesses. Bravo, Black people.
Thank you.
So I just saw a video with an Asian creator talking about how in the next 10 years that there will be no more Chinese restaurants in the United States. And you know what I say to that? Keep on shopping Black American. Yeah, keep on shopping Black American. And I say that because if y'all would have came to our neighborhoods and hired our people, one, your job wouldn't be so labor intensive. You'll be able to manage your store and take your ass home. You wouldn't have to be 70 years old working in a Chinese restaurant if you would have hired help. That's number one. Number two, y'all did all that work, came over here and got these businesses and did all this shit. And y'all can't even pass this shit down to your kids. You wanna know why? Because you taught your kids to think that they was better than the situation that you had them in. and you sent them to school and now they working for the white man. And now your Chinese restaurant is going out of business. I really, 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 really want minorities to start really paying attention to what it is that they're doing. Yeah, you got here and you was able to start a business and keep your family afloat for this time, right? But you thought that you were so good, so much better than everybody else. Oh, I want my kids to go do this. And now you done lost your legacy to some white folk because that's where your kids is working. Yeah. But anyways, y'all, keep shopping Black American. Let's do this. We all we got, baby. We all we got.
This is a Saturday. It's 2 a.m. Thank you for those of you who ordered curry tonight. We've never been open late like this before, and I've been on my own fulfilling orders, and I'm really grateful for them. I'm going to keep this as short and sweet as possible. I had a discussion with my investor. Her name is Mom. And an hour ago, it was very apparent that I won't have any more money borrowing capability starting next week. I just borrowed another $4,500 to make payroll, and payroll has been sent. But if we don't somehow make at least $14,000 to $16,000 over the next 2 days, I will not have enough money to pay rent.
Are you serious?
And I will. It's not enough. I have tax payments coming up. I have to make payroll next week organically, which will be the priority. And we will not be making enough this week to pay all of our bills next week while not being able to get additional funding to supplement the shortfall. I think this is going to be the last weekend that we provide sushi service. I don't know what to do next week without an investor. So I'm very sorry to make this announcement. I'm really proud of the food that we provide. And I hope you can try it this weekend.
Now, this is the experience that a lot of restaurant owners are experiencing right now across the United States. And this guy actually vlogged his entire experience as being a restaurant owner, guys. I mean, he's got lots of views. I think he's actually still open at this point. So I'm a little bit confused about this video, but ultimately, this is his experience. He got an investor, and basically the investor said, hey, we can't keep funding. We can't keep sending money and borrowing money. And all. Like, we've hit a wall when
Bro, I fucking called it. I told you so. I called that shit weeks ago. I told you that Asian motherfuckers were going to start destroying their businesses and blaming the black community. And now it's happened. I've just seen a couple videos that are making their rounds of storefronts with the windows and stuff being broken out of, and clearly they're blaming the black community. And these are all happening in different states across the country, but they all have one thing in common. They have no recordings of the incidents whatsoever. In this technological age, not one of those establishments had any video whatsoever of their place being vandalized. Funny, isn't it? Nobody wants to believe that Asians would do this and go this route. Just like nobody wanted to believe that Asian dude would burn a fucking cross. But he did. I didn't hear any backlash on that for real. We don't need to torch and burn businesses and vandalize businesses because pulling our money out and watching you fail is way more fucking satisfying. Nice try, though. What else you got?
Well, if nothing else, this is proof that we don't need other groups to come set up shop in our communities. And, you know, when this boycott first kicked off, the Asians were like, "You gonna need us." No, it's actually the other way around. Y'all need us. You need our black dollar to survive. You do. And see, I've heard people say to them, "Why don't you just set up shop in your own community?" Because the Asians are not going to come for that stuff. They're not going to come in there and buy the same things that people in our community will buy. And they know it. That's why they're not going to their own community with that stuff. Or they'll say, "Oh, well, why don't you go set up shop in the white community?" Because let's face it, white people don't go in these shops like people in our community did. And it's not that we wanted them to come set up shop. It was really forced upon us. The way they have been doing it, we all know they won't give us business loans to start a business, but anybody that's not us, they are more than welcome to come here and set up shop at our expense. So at the end of the day, y'all, this is proof we never needed them. The boycott is living proof that we never needed them. We never needed them. You know, this society was set up to keep us at the bottom and forcing us in a way to go to other groups. But technically, we don't need none of them. We really don't. And see, I think this wealth transfer is going to do many things that people just can't see right now, but it is going to do something big. And it should increase the amount of businesses in our community, and it will open up opportunity for us to hire each other in these jobs, just like other communities do. You walk in an Asian restaurant, it's nothing but Asians working there, you know? And I notice when it's like that, you never hear these white people complaining. But the moment we get businesses and hire each other, watch how fast they're going to jump up and start slamming down lawsuits. But everybody else does it and they just leave them alone. We know how you roll. We already know. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for your support. And don't forget to pick up your 12 Tribes on Earth hair products. Shalom, family.
That people are calling different businesses. They say they black. Now you having two things happen in the midst of all of this. One, you're having some Asian businesses trying to label their stuff as black. Some of them are using black people to do their promotions to make black people think that it is black owned when truly is an Asian owned business. So you're going to have to do your own due diligence. I see this one black woman going from beauty supply store to beauty supply store. I guess she's racking up cash, doing events for them to try to draw black people in and giving them the, listen, if it's false, I don't know if that's, false advertising or misrepresentation, don't know. But, I guess you can use whoever you want to advertise your business. So I guess she's making money doing that, in the midst of this. Now, I don't think she should do that. But, hey, we have people that don't have some integrity, and that's just really what it is. And that's number one. Number two, there's another issue that's been coming up where you have people within the diaspora that have been saying, yeah, I'm a black-owned business. You can come support me. Now, some people say, well, I don't want to support, brothers and sisters in the diaspora. I don't want to support FBA. Now, I have to say my position on that. What was our position when we were speaking about immigrants, in particular, those who immigrated here from the diaspora? What was our main point? Our main point was you're not going to disrespect, right? And if you disrespect, we're going to check. Wasn't that? And we all can agree with that. I agree with that. But I also said, if that brother or sister is not disrespectful in no way, shape, form, or fashion, if they respect Black Americans, we've never had a problem out of them, I don't mind supporting them. I'd rather give it to, if I can't find if somebody's not within close and they are, and they always been respectful to FBA, I ain't got a problem with that. Not at all. Now, some people do have an issue with it. I'm not doing all that. Only thing I don't want to know is, are they disrespectful? Have they been disrespecting our lineage? If they have, no, leave them alone. Don't fool with them. But I said that back when they were talking about boycotting the African braiders. I said the same thing. I said, if they disrespectful, boycott them. Don't go over there. But if they are respectful and have always been respectful to Black America, then we can mess with them. That's how I feel about it. I'm never going to change that stance because I'm not going to pull that South Africa crap. That's when you start getting into that South Africa. I ain't doing all that. I wouldn't raise like that. And I'm not going to change into something else I'm not. I love my people. I love my lineage. But, if I had a choice to give it right now between the blackout, and I had no other choice but a Caribbean, African, or giving it to the other community, the Asian community right now, I'll give it to them if I have no choice. And let's call it what it is. It's way more FBA businesses in America than any other diaspora group, because we're the majority in the area of numbers. So of course you're gonna find more Black restaurants as us. Come on. Some cities don't even have a lot of immigrants from the diaspora. The immigrants from the diaspora is actually a small number compared to who we are. We're 40 plus million people. How many immigrants? I think they said between maybe up to 5 million immigrants who are from the diaspora. So we outnumber them completely. So we got way more businesses. So, but like I said, that's what I choose to do. You could say, I don't want to spend money with them, whatever. To me, that's too much confusion. Let's just stick to the main topic. And the main topic is the situation with Rick Child and the rest of them. That's the main, I'm about sticking to the main thing. That's what I'm about. You could disagree, not agree. Sorry. I mean, the channel is called African Diaspora News Channel. Never forget that. Never forget that. I'm always going to support brothers and sisters here at home and globally, as long as you respect. If you disrespect, I'm going to lay into you. I'm going to lay into you with love, with love, like Michael Jackson say, with love. I'm going to lay into you. Now, before we also get started, like we said, Toronto, like I said, time is ticking. If you'd like us to come out, we'll do the event in Toronto next month. We got to get some tickets sold, so we need to get at least, some more tickets sold with that. If not, like I say, we'll just suspend it, and that's okay. And we'll just go ahead on reassess, and we'll do something here in Houston and something in Atlanta. That will be the pivot. And we can get that done pretty quick. So let us know, we'll find out here by Monday. I'll let y'all know. And so for sure, Houston, Atlanta, if that don't happen, we coming. We've gotten the emails. We've gotten the requests. We got it. We will have it. Also, thank you for downloading the app. We greatly appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and run that real quick, and then let's go ahead on and get started because we have a lot to talk about, and I don't want to waste not much more of your time because I know y'all are some important people. Y'all are productive Black people, and I want to make sure I give you all the attention that you need.
The African Diaspora News Channel app. What if I told you there's a news platform made just for us on
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we got some video we got to look at, review, kind of respond to. Now that's not to waste much more of your time, because I know, like I say, your time is precious. All right, let's go ahead and kick it up.
Financially struggling, I don't see how the boycott would accomplish any meaningful change. There's a lot of Black people trying to boycott Asian businesses, which really irked me, because I never see them boycotting white businesses whenever a white person kills a Black person. The double standard is crazy, especially considering that white people kill way more Black people than Asians do. And the reason why Asians are being targeted as a whole here is rooted in racism. In the Western world, we are viewed as a monolith, whereas whites are viewed as individuals. That's why the entire community gets punished for something only one of us does. And I know it's 100%.
Okay, let me stop. Let me stop right there. Sir, I'm going to mention a few names. George Floyd. That's a recent one that we could talk about. Black people aren't doing an uprising, maybe doing a blackout, but not an uprising. You know what happens in an uprising? Them businesses you have turns to ash. Glass, you know, like I said, usually it's turned to ash, or glass is broken, it's completely looted. That's during uprisings. Nobody's doing an uprising to y'all businesses. Y'all businesses are intact. Matter of fact, Black people are filming your businesses intact. No one is going over there and physically doing a thing to y'all. So don't compare yourself to white people and their businesses. Why do you think they really don't want us, to piss us off too much with that? They go so far with that too. Target is a white-owned business. They would, you know what I'm saying? What you talking about? You don't go after white business, please. White businesses was the reason we even created boycotts. The Montgomery bus boycott, that was the very first successful boycott of over a year. But when you don't read American history and you immigrate to this country and just get in when you fit in or whatever, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Black folks have boycotted white folks way more than any other group. And I like that you admitted that the white folks do more unalivings of Black people than Asians. That's true. That's actually true. I'm glad you admitted that. But here's the problem. White people don't set up all their businesses in our neighborhoods. Maybe except the major corporations like CVS, Walmart, the big corporations like that. Outside of those big corporations, there's not a bunch of white people making food in our neighborhood. There's not a bunch of white people with dry cleaners. There's not a bunch of white people with beauty supply stores in our neighborhood. Sorry, it's not white. So how you going to put white people in it? You're just trying to pivot away from yourself because you're not taking personal responsibility that y'all fumbled your bag. You fumbled that. And your little friend, white America, is not coming to save you. And that's why you're upset. This is like the second time y'all done messed up as a community. With that student for fair admission case, y'all was getting way more into college with affirmative action. You help them good folks over there, and then your enrollment dropped. And y'all still admit that mistake. Now this one. Y'all just fumbling your own bag. Nobody else is doing it for you. You're doing it for yourself. It is not Rick Child, as I said before. It's been how y'all have treated Black people for a long time. Listen, every business have customer service disputes. Every business. But it's a way to handle it. I'm going to tell you this much. You want to bring up white people? I have not seen white business owners locking people in stores. I haven't seen white business owners putting people in headlocks. I haven't seen a bunch of white employees jumping somebody, hitting them with brooms and all kind of other things behind $10. Haven't seen white businesses doing that. I haven't seen white business owners chasing you down the street for the assumption of stealing water and gunning you down. I haven't seen a bunch of white business owners doing that. So don't put white people in this. Listen, when white people are wrong, I'm gonna say it. A lot of white businesses have not done the craziness that some of y'all have done. Now, have they done racial profiling in big box stores? Yes, we've all talked about that. We have. But they have not acted like a lot of y'all in your businesses. I've seen y'all kick black women. I haven't seen a bunch of white business owners kicking black women on camera. So don't put them in it. And I'm not caping for them. I'm just telling the truth. Truth has to be out there, sir. If you was acting more like the white business owners, it wouldn't be a blackout right now if you acted like them. Yeah, King Noble talking about, he said he seen one out in Norfolk, Virginia, where a sister was locked inside a nail shop. Because you know why white people not going to do that? Because they understand that's a criminal charge. It's called kidnapping or false imprisonment. You can go to jail for that. They understand that. They'll just call the police on you. They'll get you your image. You know what I'm saying? They'll file a shoplifting, theft of service, something like that charge on you. They'll just make sure to get a picture, and then the police can go looking for you. They're not going to lock you in. Do you ever see loss prevention? Because I cover these stories at Walmart, Target. I haven't seen them lock the doors. Lock the doors. Don't. Actually, they say let them go outside the door so they can get charged. They don't lock you in, even though they see you stealing. They say no. Let them leave out so we can get them on that. Because that's when you know the law. Y'all don't know the law. You know that mess that go on in your culture that come out of your homeland. That's why you act that way behind $5. When you're in business, you have business insurance. Theft is part of it. And if you don't have business insurance, then you need to get it. That you can make a claim on you're paying a premium, you can make claims. And that's another thing. These people with the insurance companies want us in fear of making a claim. Oh, my rate gonna go up if I make a claim. Why in the hell am I paying you $300 to $500 a month for years, and I'm scared to make a claim because you're gonna raise my price up on me? If you need to use that insurance or whatever insurance you got, auto insurance, medical insurance, whatever the case, man, use your insurance. That's what you got it for. Matter of fact, I had to use my insurance for something I have to go do, because I had like a rock hit one of my cars and it ran too far, and so I say, oh no, I ain't about to get a ticket, so I'm going to use this on the insurance. Well, don't use the insurance, your rate gonna go up. I don't care. I'm paying these people every month. No accidents, no nothing. But when I need to use it, my rate gonna go up, man. Forget them. I'll just go to another provider. I don't care. Anyway, I just want to put that out there, because these insurance companies, they scams. Boy, if I was the president, I'd end all that. But let's go ahead and continue with what these guys saying.
You can tell when a black person has African immigrant parents. The biggest difference that I noticed was that they're a lot more friendly and relatable to me than the black people of American lineage.
Of course they're more relatable to you. Y'all are immigrants. Of course. And I don't know why you're bringing up African and Caribbean people, but y'all have that in common. Y'all immigrants. Y'all come from a distant place. This is not your original homeland. So of course y'all have that camaraderie. That's that immigrant camaraderie. We don't have that camaraderie with y'all. We are from the soil. We built this place from the ground up. Now, maybe y'all, like I said, and the people in your homeland, who are there every day, right? They built that place. And you know another thing about a lot of people who immigrate here? The people back home don't really have a lot of respect for them a lot of times. They're like, you're not a real Chinese. Even Africans, they're like, you were born in America. You're Black American. You're not a Nigerian. Yeah, you got Nigerian parents, but you're more like a Black American. You may know the culture and the language. You more of them. That's how they feel about you. They feel like if you wasn't born there, you wasn't raised there, then you're not part of the soil. So Let's continue with this next lady.
I'm so sorry. Like right now, obviously, like it's a big talk about this murder this Asian man did. He killed a 14-year-old boy, which is horrible. But in response to that, a lot of people are boycotting Asian businesses. And I kind of think that's a little crazy because it's one man's action affecting the whole Asian community. That's low-key a generalization. Also, a lot of these people are boycotting like nail businesses and stuff. Those people are Vietnamese, not even Chinese, okay? A lot of those people are lower income. They're not the model minority. They're from a third world country. And I'm saying that because I know someone who is literally kind of being affected by this because their family owns a nail tech business. And I just think it's a little crazy that it's so, I guess, fine to say this normalization and be like all Asian people because of this one Asian person.
I kind of like how you talk down on Vietnamese people, though. That was kind of low. That was kind of cold-blooded. You call Vietnamese people third world? That's not cool. I wouldn't say that about any Vietnamese person or Vietnam. Why did you do that, ma'am? That was so not nice. You delineating and then calling them. But you know what? Let me tell y'all something. Years ago, I learned about their delineation. So if what I've learned through other Asian people, Vietnamese, Cambodians, Thai people, Filipinos, Laotians, all the darker Asians, they're looked down upon. You're looked down upon. And the more whiter skinned Asians, that's the ones that, colorism, basic colorism. There's colorism. This one girl on TikTok, I think she was Filipino, but she was dark. She said she's called a jungle Asian, is what they say they call her because of her dark skin. I thought that was like an interesting thing to hear. If you want to piss them off, call the lighter skinned ones. Oh, you Vietnamese? Watch how they flip out on you. I am not no Vietnamese. I'm Korean. Like they get pissed off if you call them Vietnamese. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, why y'all got beef with Vietnamese? But that's not my issue. I'm just a person on the outside observing, watching, listening, and learning. That's all. I'm learning life. But if your friend who's Vietnamese is being affected, then why don't you go to her shop, ma'am, and go get your nails done? Matter of fact, Asian community, this is your opportunity to go to those businesses and say, you know what? Let's go all patronize our nail shops. Let's go patronize our restaurants. Let's go patronize our beauty supply stores. Because that's another interesting dynamic I'm seeing too. Why is the businesses empty when you have millions of Asian people in this country who can support Asian-owned businesses? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? They don't even go support. So it leads me to believe, why won't y'all go support your own businesses in a time like this? Why won't you go get your nails done in droves in your own businesses? Why is it okay for us to go do it, but y'all won't go do it? Where are you getting your nails done from? You don't go to the restaurants in our community, but it's your time to go now. Why should Asian businesses go out of business when you got so many Asian people that can support those businesses? Isn't that strange? What do Asians know about those businesses that we don't know? And if Asians won't go support Asian-owned businesses, then why are you pressing us to bring our dollars to your business when your own people won't support you in this time of need? You say they're too busy in H Mart? Yeah, that's their store, boy, H Mart. Yeah, but okay, they support H Mart. And they can go support the nail shops. They can support the restaurants. They can go support a beauty supply store. They go to H Mart. Yeah, they all in there. But that's a good question, brothers and sisters. When they keep making videos, you tell them, why aren't your own people supporting your own businesses? What's going on with that? Why are you pressing us for it? I want y'all to say that in them comment sections. I want y'all to make videos with that talking point right there. Why don't you support Asian-owned businesses? Just like we as Black people must support Black-owned businesses. That would make sense of us getting mad with the Asian community for not supporting Black-owned businesses. That don't make sense. And that's a question I have for the Asian community. Why don't you support your own businesses? You're right. I guess for Linda, I guess how you say your name. You don't see them in there. And I was told a long time ago, if you don't see Asians eating in one of those restaurants, don't eat there. I was told that a long time ago. If you never see an Asian in any, and we're not talking about the workers, we're talking about Asian people that come in there on a regular and eat. They say, well, the Asians eat, that's the real food and that's the good food. If you're going to eat Asian food. They don't come to the Black community and say, ooh, let me go to Mr. Lee's Chinese restaurant. Then we'll get that big 10-pound thing of food that he gives. At one point in time, he used to give it for like $5-7. 10 pounds of food for $5-7. The Asian people are like, yeah, I know what he doing with that. I ain't going in there. And Black folks be like, oh, boy, look at all this food that Mr. Lee and them gave me. Man, I got a lot of food. I got so much left over. And trust me, we all did it. I know I've done it. I talked about that. When I worked at the chemical plant, they had a Mr. Walk. I would go with that Mr. Walk for $7. Boy, you come out there with so much food, it puts you to sleep. I know we all just survived it. Well, that's a $50 million question. When you said, okay, it's so J12. Yes. What's wrong with it where they don't want to consume it? That's the $50 million question. And if Asians don't want to consume it, why the hell do they want us to consume it? If Asians won't go and flood the nail shops right now in their time of need, Asians are in need for Asians to support Asian-owned businesses. But let me tell you something. They delineate harder than Black people can ever delineate. Every group delineates. That's why that young girl said, he Chinese. Well, they Vietnamese. That's delineation. But see, you delineate when it's convenient. And you stick together as a monolith. Listen, you can't say we all Asian 1 minute, then delineate when you're being held accountable. No. If you are Asian for the bad, you got to be Asian for the good too. So no, you Asian. We don't want to hear that delineation talk. Let's continue.
Your fucking head out of your ass for 1 second, okay? All Asian people could agree with me on this one. Is that you are upset with one Asian person and the rest of the one that looks like him get punished for it. That's the questions that we're asking. It's not because, oh my God, we're losing a business that you're not going to shop with us. No. The question is, why do you punish people that look like Chow? That's it. Because we asked that questions, you went into, oh, so the boy was innocent. No, we're not saying that we're not grieving for the loss of Cyrus. We're not saying that we're agreeing with Chow. We're not arguing about anything in that matter. But we're asking, if you're not happy with Chow, go punish Chow. Why do you targeting collectively because we look alike? What? And because we asked that, you think that we're okay with shop owner to kill a young innocent man? Now, that's projection, sweetheart. That's not coming from me. I grieve and I feel more the loss of a life. Okay? No life should be lost. That's it. I'm not arguing about that. I'm saying Asian people out here are asking, why do we get punished?
Okay. And Black people are asking, why aren't Asian people supporting Asian businesses where you won't even feel a collective punishment? That's the question that we all have to ask. Why are you worried about what we do? Listen, some of you, and not saying you, ma'am, in particular, I'm not blaming you for what I'm about to say. Some of you in your community have said you have black fatigue, right? This is the best way to get rid of black fatigue right here. Some of you have said that, oh, they don't like blacks. What's that Asian girl? I forgot that girl name. She always talking crap about black people. Oh, I forgot her name. Diane Yap, I think that's her name. Always talking crap about black people. Where that Diane Yap should be going to these Asian businesses with her camera and showing we supporting Asian-owned businesses. We are proudly Asian. Go support. Leave us alone. Go support your people. Show black people how you stick together and support your own. It should be wraparound lines of Asian people going to those beauty supply stores. It should be wraparound lines of Asian women lining up to go get their nails and feet done by their own community. What's going on? Because I'm confused. Maybe I don't listen. Maybe I don't know enough. I'm not saying I know, but I just have to ask questions. And maybe y'all in the chat know. Y'all, because like I said, some of y'all smarter than me. Hey, I don't know everything. I just know how to hold a conversation. You know, I've been doing this about 14 years, so I didn't figure out how to kind of, maybe just guide a conversation a little bit. But I'm not the know-it-all of everything. So that's why I may ask y'all, why do you think they won't support their own businesses? Why do you think they keep crashing out on black Americans that's peacefully protesting, because this is a peaceful protest because we're not uprising, peacefully protesting and bringing our dollars home to black America where it belongs? So it seems to me that even the white America won't support them, and even Asian America won't support their businesses. This is wild. And that if it wasn't me for black America, they are not surviving without us. That is crazy. No, they don't need us to survive. They need Asian people and Asian dollars. Remember, they on paper make more money than we do. Asians rank number one on household income over white people. So they got it. They got the money. A lot of it they got it from us, but they got the money. Let me pull that up real quick. Hold on. The median household income 2026. Give me a second. Cause I'm gonna give it to y'all real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I just had it. Give me a second. Give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it for y'all. All right, hold on. It's pulling it up right now. It's going through the census and everything like that. Just give me a second. I don't want to give y'all no misinformation. Let's wait till this populate. Okay, so Asians on the latest one, they said Asians median household income is $121,700. Black people is $56,020. Asians' income is way more than ours. Well, let's think about it. Our median income is going to their community. Whites, 92,530. That's median. They say Hispanic any race, 70,950. So we're at the bottom. we're at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. So why isn't it Asian people aren't supporting their businesses? You know what? If we would not be giving all our money to them, maybe our median household income would jump up to where theirs is at. You ever thought about that? You ever thought about that? We're at the, listen, I've said this before and I'm gonna repeat this again. The reason why at times we are at the bottom is because it's not always white supremacy now. Because we know it's easy to put it all on white supremacy. A lot of the reason we're at the bottom is this Asian business situation. If you were circulating all them billions that you spent over there with them and raising up their median household income and bring that money home to Black America, that can create more Black jobs, that can get rid of the Black unemployment ourselves and not looking to white businesses to solve our problems, our median household income would drive up through the roof. We give our money to white businesses, Arab businesses. We give our money to all these different businesses, right? And if we just keep our money within our community, we will surpass these people. And us being at the bottom like that, that's our fault. White supremacy is not making you go line up at the Asian nail shop. White supremacy ain't making you do that. White supremacy ain't telling you to go over there to the Chinese spot and get them $10 plates. I'm talking about 10-pound plates, not $10. White supremacy is not sitting up there telling you to go to their beauty supply store. They're not telling you anything. You choosing to do that. So you can't put that all on white supremacy while we're at the bottom. We have to take personal responsibility of why we at the bottom too. It's easy to say, well, racist policy. Yes, it has something to do with it. It do. But it's not the whole thing. We'll sit up here and go spend our last on a purse. We'll go spend our last on a car that's not even worth anything when you drive off the lot with it. Instead of having a rule, which I had to learn myself, don't buy a vehicle that costs no more than $20,000. Buy it used. Even that expensive BMW you probably want, which that's not a good car, or Mercedes, get you one that's certified used and that's under $20,000, no more than $20,000. Your car note will be affordable. It don't make no sense for you to be paying no $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 car note for a car. For what? Seen a video of a sister out of Atlanta when you're paying $1,300 a month for a BMW. Why? Well, you can go get that same vehicle a couple of years older or whatever, and it don't matter if the miles is on it. Every vehicle got a certain mile cap as long as you take care of the maintenance. Keep it in the dealership, take care of your maintenance, save your money. You can get the top trim car if you want to, if you get it used. And it's a car. You ain't living in it. And the people judging you about what car you're driving, maybe it's not the people you need to hang around. Sorry. Oh, look at what he driving. Oh, and I've seen some Black people do that. Oh, I don't want to talk to him because he drove a Honda Accord. Okay. And billionaires drive Honda Accord, Toyota Camry. Billionaires don't be driving Lambos. Have you actually seen how billionaires drive and live? How they dress? Oh, yeah, Dr. Claude Anderson told us a long time ago, and the problem is Black folks just didn't listen. He told us a long time ago about the immigrants. He said they're not coming here to be your friend. They're coming here to compete with you. He said it a long time ago. Now people slowly starting to get it. And say, you know what? All this immigration, that's not really good for us. They put these people in our neighborhoods to do what? Compete with you, to take the Black dollar. And unfortunately, because we, as a collective, didn't have enough discipline to realize that and listen to Dr. Anderson. Minister Farrakhan, he told us about what? Doing for self, keeping money in your own community, building businesses in your own community. We've been told. We can't say we wasn't told. These men are in their senior years. You can go back to their videos. They all told us. We as a collective of people just didn't listen. What if we would have listened to them messages when they was in their prime? When Dr. Anderson was in his prime or Mr. Farrakhan was in their prime? What if we would have, as a community, took a hold of those messages and applied it? We wouldn't be in this quagmire we're in right now in 2026 Black people. We'd be so much further ahead. I think our median income would be $250,000 a year, and we'd have listened to them. Yeah, Brother Malcolm. We didn't listen to him. Didn't listen to Dr. King. Didn't listen to a whole lot of people. Hosea Williams, he was another one. He was telling us about all that immigration and all that. Hey, man, we can't be accepting all this. But no, Black folks want to give the NAACP and talking about minority this and Rainbow Coalition, Jesse Jackson, and like, no. But we can't go back and change the past. So I mean, we can't relitigate that. We just can learn from it, right? And say, okay, how do we apply these lessons in 2026 and above? How do we apply those lessons? That's it. But like I said before, we don't need another Dr. King. We don't need another Minister Farrakhan. We don't. We have enough lessons from them that all we got to do is go back to the videos and watch them and apply them. God has been faithful to give us so many messengers. We don't need another Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She gave us everything we needed. Her words are still here. Neely Fuller has given us so much game. We don't need another Neely Fuller. They left a great body of work for us to actually, if we apply, because a lot of times as Black people, we love to hear a good message. Ooh, that was good. Like church, ooh, that pastor preached. But did you apply anything? That's the key. Application of what you heard. That's what makes those words be fruitful in your life. People planting seeds all the time, right? I'm even planting seeds with you. But are you going to apply what we're saying? Or are you just enjoying what I'm saying for entertainment purposes only? And that's fine if you're entertained by me sometime. That's okay. That's quite okay. I'm not upset by that. But if we talk about some serious things and say, maybe what can we apply to our life to make a change? Because like I said, I'm not going to be speaking to you forever either. I got my time that I'm going to say, hey, when that time is there, I'm done. I didn't done this so far 14 years. I think I've done enough. Not to say I'm stopping today, but hey, I'm not gonna do it forever. Shoot, maybe LaSherica will take my place or something. I don't know. I can talk, I can script and do everything with her. How about that? Because maybe I'm tired. Just talking. Application is the key, folks. Live and learn. Living like Mr. Farrakhan always say, don't laugh. Like, don't laugh at the Asian community. Learn. Don't laugh at them. Nothing is funny. What have we learned? Never bite the hands that feed you. That's one lesson we learned. 2, listening to white supremacy like they're your friend. They always show you in the end they're never your friend because they don't like Asian people either. That's what they understand. They don't like Asians. They don't like nobody. They only like themselves. I can't even say like themselves. They can't stand each other because when we are not around, they attack each other, literally attack each other. So I can't even say they like each other. Look at Ukraine and Russia. That's white on white violence. We are nowhere around that. And they still attacking each other. That's white on white crime. So we can be nowhere in the mix. They will be fighting each other. So Asians don't have a friend with that particular community. Asian community burned a lot of bridges with the Black community. And they shouldn't have done that. And I'm gonna tell all you other groups who's watching from the sidelines. You see what's happening with the Asian community? You see how them folks aren't their friend in the end? You see they aren't flooding their businesses to help them stay afloat? I want you to pay attention to that. That's the same thing with y'all. You sit up here and agreeing with them. Oh, yeah, I don't like the blacks either and all that. Okay. All right. And then when you come up on the Summer Jam screen for black people to come zero in on you, you better learn from the Asian community. And once again, Asian community, why aren't you supporting your own businesses? Especially in a time like this. Why aren't you supporting your own? Stop pressing black people and press Asians. Okay? Now, I'm going to run over a few minutes, so just bear with me.
Let's read what this person says. The terrible thing is that these businesses could put out a statement or make a donation or fundraise for a black organization, but no, you rather get on here and deny and call black people racist. It's not about one person. I'm going to play your game now. Did you put out a statement or did you try to fundraise for the Asian community when those black people literally were hurting, killing all those Asian people during COVID? When I got jumped by 5 black people, did you put out a statement? Did you fucking speak out for me? When all the looting that was happening, did you speak out for all those businesses that suffered? I'm gonna say again that I say in every single video. Boycott all you want. That's not my problem. It's your right to boycott. It's your right to spend your money however you want. Just don't hurt innocent businesses that has nothing to do with it just because it's owned by Asians. I cannot be any more clear than this.
And he continuing, this guy is lying once again about the pandemic. Sir, you know, and y'all know they constitute an attack. You're arguing with them on the subway. That's your then how many times in New York, notice the videos only come out in New York and California, remember? And every time these attackers was wearing a hoodie, was like red color or pink, it was some sort of color coded. And we kept noticing, why they keep wearing the same colors that's doing these things to Asian people? And then after Biden and them signed that little bill for them, all of a sudden them attacks just magically went away. It's like, oh my God, they just woke up one day and seen the light and stopped attacking. The media stopped talking about it. All that mess was nothing but propaganda to get some legislation on the table for them. That's exactly what it was, because I remember it and I was covering it the whole time. Propaganda, that was propaganda 101. You know, and see, that's another reason why black people has to black out. It's because you're lying. You don't lie on black people, and we keep spending our money on you. No, so you magically got jumped by 5 black people. What happened? What did you do? I'm curious because I know my people. We don't just go jump you like that. We don't. Even our street dudes, they just go jumping people for no reason. So what's going on? I've known super thugs in my day, and they didn't go sit up there and just jumping on people for no reason. I'm always curious when you say black people didn't jumped on you for some reason, like, because the way your mouth is, I can imagine you said something crazy to them. I can imagine, because just your little attitude. Well, you know, a lot of sisters, you say sisters hold the line. A lot of sisters are holding the line, though. I'm really impressed because for years we've been begging sisters to hold the line because they are the ones that can make or break them. It's not really us. Now, yes, black men do go to the restaurants and yes, black men do go get some supplies at the beauty supply store and all that. Yes, they do. But it was mostly the sisters. And black women, you know, if black women don't support other black women, who will? Now, let me play this and wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen.
So I went to the gym this morning so that I could shower, change my clothes, freshen up, you know, that sort of thing. So I worked out today, y'all, for the first time, and oh my God, my fucking legs feel like noodles. But anywho, that's not the point. The point is I was sitting in the locker room, just chilling. Y'all, why does this heavyset Asian lady walk in? She walked in, y'all, and when she walked in, I stood up. Not because she walked in, but I was getting ready to move around. So I stood up simultaneously when she got into my energy. Y'all, the way this woman looked at me The way she stared, mugged, the energy was hate. The way she looked at me, I thought she knew me. I thought she was the lady that I worked with in my last role. So I looked at her back hard because she was looking at me so hard, I thought she knew me. So I looked her back hard. And then she waved her hand like go. And I looked at her like, y'all are serious out here. They're really mad at us. Asians are really mad at us. Her energy was mad at me for being Black because I guess her grandmama restaurant not doing so good, or maybe her nail salon ain't popping no more. Bitch, what you want from me? Y'all should have treated us right.
Hey, what this sister said in the end is true. Should have treated them right. But let me get to this comment here and say, why do you only specify only Asians? This is the all immigrant ban. Stop talking to us if it's optional. This is our last chance. I don't know what that means. This is our last chance. Everything in life is optional. Everything. It's called the power of choice. It's optional. You can choose to do something or you can choose not to do something. And I got a simple question. What other groups have a bunch of beauty supply stores in the Black community? What other group have a bunch of nail salons in the Black community? What other group outside of Asian people? All the Chinese restaurants and all of these different places. What other groups have that in the Black community? The only other people that's in the Black community, I would say outside of Asians, I think Asians more dominant. You may have some Arabs that own convenience stores. You see them at convenience stores a lot of times, or maybe they'll have some chain merchant, like a Dunkin' Donuts chain or something like that. You have immigrants owning things like that. But here's the deal that with that, if they own a Dunkin' Donuts, they're still underneath the rules of the company. So if you go to the white folks about their business practices, the white folks won't get them right because the white folks don't play. But they're more dominant in our community, and the subject matter is what's going on now. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and you got a YouTube channel. You can go talk to people and tell them to do whatever you want to tell them. That's fine. I have more power to you. But we're going to keep it on the subject matter. And the sisters are doing great. I'm proud of the sisters. Let me give the sisters a hand clap. The sisters are standing on business. The sisters have been exposing that the folks don't support them, and neither do their own community support them. And once again, before I wrap up, I want you to tell them when you see these videos pop up, why aren't you pressing your community to support your own businesses, the nail salons, the restaurants, the beauty supply stores? Anything you have in our community, they can come to our community and support those businesses. It's no problem. That's who they need to press right now. Leave Black people alone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for.
Go figure. Follow me.